you can just say whatever you want. I may ask you some questions, but
Yeah.
also since I'm partially coaching this track, I probably should say something. But
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That sounds
and
good.
we are actually already recording, so but
I noticed.
I've tried to
Meant to
this
just.
as informal as possible, so people kind of get to know at least for especially for the new people. So right now we have,
Mhm.
as we're recording this, about 60 people signed up in total for
Nice.
various tracks. I would say roughly a quarter are new, and then we have a variety of returning people. The interesting thing
Hmm.
is that since we've done this a couple of years now, we have returning people who probably don't know each other, have never trained together.
Hmm.
Maybe they have a little bit in the alumni group. Um, so the mix is going to be interesting. There inevitably are going to be new people joining strength and conditioning. We're going to hop in with a group of experienced people who have done the program before and have been working with
Hmm.
both of us in some capacity. So I want them to get an idea of who we are and what it's like to work with us. But I also want our returning members to get an idea of what this is going to look like, because this is going to be drastically different with us tag teaming 6 months.
Hmm.
So, what do you have planned?
Yeah.
Tell us your plan
So,
so far.
so I am planning to, make some modifications depending on the degree of fitness and size of class. But what I've planned for the first month or so is I have 2 days of the strength training. So I figured I really like splitting it up or lower since people have the option to train all 5 days. So give some variety, some focuses. So the first couple weeks will really focus on refining our technique in basic movement patterns, squatting, deadlift, etc. Don't need to get super fancy. I think people can be in and out in 30 to 45 minutes and get a good hard lift. And the foundations of that is like just basic technical skills and then pushing yourself hard with those lifts and compound lifts so you can get multiple muscle groups at a time. So, really, some teaching of the why, some of that education, both for new and old people, can help people get to the point of independence if they know why they're doing what exercises they're doing. So it might be a little repetitive, but I find that it to be the most effective if you really want to see results. So I'll have a lower body day and an upper body day. Um, and yeah, keep it pretty straightforward at first. So, also if you're someone that's returning, but maybe you got busy last year, kind of fell off the wagon and get back to the basics. Or if you're returning and have been training with me through all last year and maybe take a couple weeks off because my ladies class ends at the end of the time of this recording, end of April, there's a week or two off. They can come back and you can always go heavier on squats. You can always go heavier on deadlifts. You can always do, more push-ups, more pull-ups, etc., and keep not not losing that strength that you've built. Exercise is a lifestyle and it's maintenance. It might sound like, oh, we're doing the same things. And yeah, that's exercise. It's going to be like that forever, but at least you have the accountability. I try to vary it up enough between weeks. We won't be doing the same thing every week, have different focuses. And then sometimes, as we fill in for each other, I'll be gone a few weeks, getting married, as Chris will fill in for me. As if he's gone with things, I'll fill in and use some of those other days. I plan for just like some technical things, like technical skills on improving your pull-ups or other informative knowledge on basic core training and doing more besides sit-ups. What are some rotational, landmine, etc. So if any of that excites you to go beyond with a technique, or just getting, in the very least, like, I don't have to think, I don't have a plan, I have friends, I have accountability, I get workouts in several times a week, that would be a program for you.
Okay, cool. We have this is the first time we've opened up Fit Club to returning members,
Mm-hmm.
and we're seeing um, I don't want to say overwhelming, but there's a huge return effort.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are coming back, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I wasn't really sure how this was going to go if people, because we've never offered it before. So I was
Mm-hmm.
excited. I am excited to see that. And so I feel like compelled to offer something different and something new. But at the same time, we can't just abandon the principles of strength and conditioning and try and
Mm-hmm.
entertain people. So I think the repetitive thing that you're talking about for people who are coming back and like, oh, more squats. Yes, more squats. Like, you know what I mean? We're going to
Yeah.
keep doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
There's no magic here. You and I didn't go to like some magic seminar in between this where we learned something new. It's a lot of the same principles, repackaging it, working it more and refining those skills.
Yeah. And when you do those, you can see the progress you made. If
Yeah.
I didn't make the way, I'll use the example of some of my classes, the way I've done it, and Fit Club will be slightly different. But the way I've done one of my classes is it's the same 3 days for 3 weeks in a row, and then it revises. And so this week being our last week of that class, it's the last of 3 batches. So I'm like, okay, this is your last chance, and it's our last week of the program. Go heavier. You've been doing the same exact row with the barbell, with the exact grip, all those even little details. You've been doing the same exact thing. This is your third week. Try to, you should be
Yeah.
going up in weight over those 3 weeks, or same with the squats and the deadlifts and everything. And I think too, the feedback I received from the people that are returnees are the people that just have really learned to love strength training and love the camaraderie of a group setting. And so they're
Yeah.
like, we don't change it. Like, we just want more of the same.
Nice.
Like, other people who wanted it different, left a while ago.
Okay.
The people that are here and the people that are returning, yeah, they want the consistency, they want the maintenance. So sometimes I do occasionally over breaks, like we just had Easter break, and I give at home workout options for people in case they're traveling. And I've had people explicitly tell me, and if they watch this video, they know who they are. People explicitly tell me, like, yeah, we changed your workout. We did it more like the workouts you usually give us, because they like those
Oh,
better. So they like the heavy weight training. And I say heavy, I should back off and say, as heavy as you want to go. That's the beauty of strength training, is you can be practicing on the technique of a squat with a PVC pipe, or you can be doing it with hundreds of pounds on your back. You can be doing a pull up completely free weight, pulling your body weight, or even added weight if you're at that level. I don't think anyone in Fit Club usually is, but or you can do it with lots of band support. You can do on the TRX. So something that I've actually really enjoyed about classes that are mixed, returnees and new people, is some of my classes, like all my classes in the fall and the spring, have not been like starts at this time, ends at this time. It's like rolling admittance. Every
mm-hmm.
time someone's reached out to me and said, I've told them, like, we are this far in the semester, but you are welcome to come try.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people have come and stuck, and they see that people are ahead of them, like they picked up more things. But what happens is the people who've been there longer kind of partner up with them, and they're like, hey, this is how you do this thing. If I'm helping, if it's a larger group and I'm coaching one person, the returnees start coaching their friends and
Yeah.
encouraging one another and emboldening themselves with their knowledge. And so it encourages the returnees, like, see how much they've learned. And then the newbies aren't just like in a pile not knowing what to do. They're blending in with everyone. And that's the beauty of Hillsdale too, is everyone knows each other.
Yeah.
So there's inevitably some friend groups that make it into the classes and can help each other learn. And yeah, by the end, they're kind of all doing the same things.
Nice. I think that's an important thing to bring up. We're changing a lot of stuff for the program this year. One thing that for Fit Club that I'm going to keep static is that if you got to start at the beginning and go all the way
Mm-hmm.
through. There is no rolling admittance for this program. There's a couple reasons for it. We're going to develop skills and capacity, and 3 months in, the people who have been training regularly are going to be at a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone comes in, it's a gamble, because if they're slow or they're not up to speed, or you know what I mean, like that. I want to service the
Mm-hmm.
people who have put in the effort and treat this like a team. And I also don't want to create this environment where it's like, yeah, we could come, we could go. It's like for anyone who's joining this program, I'm going to show up and I'm going to bring it every day. So it's Rachel. We're going to give you 100%, and we're expect you to give us whatever you got that day. And I'm not going to be distracted with someone who's transient, who's came in
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks late. And honestly, in this program, you've had different results, and maybe it's our personalities. People who in the past I've been lenient and like, yeah, you can start late, they've never finished. I've never had someone come in
Mm,
and start the program late and see it to the end. And I think
mm,
it's a mentality problem. Not necessarily like those people have a weak mentality, but it's just there was no buy in. So I want to keep that static. So anyone who's listening to this,
mm-hmm,
if you're like, oh, I might not, I would say join, get in on the ground floor, show up,
mm-hmm,
and then just try and stick with it. And we'll work with you to the best of our ability. Because to your point, we can scale this. There's going to be people who have been doing this for a while who are fit and strong and they have confidence and they have experience and they have great range of motion. You know, they've been working at it for, we've got some returners
mm-hmm,
who have been doing this for 2 to 3 years now regularly. So for the new people coming in, if you're like, oh no, I might not be as fit or as experienced as someone else, you can get rid of the word might. You won't be. It's fine. We don't expect you to come in, and we just expect you to come in with an open mind and then to do what you can do. And then there are going to be days when you're like, I'm not comfortable. And we say, all right, use PVC pipe today. Go body weight, or
mm-hmm,
let's make it even lighter. Let's just work on technique while everyone else lifts. No one's really judging you. And I think that's a nice thing for the new people to understand that we have a really good group of people returning. Everyone's really cool. No one's judgmental. We've all been where you've been at some
mm-hmm,
point, and everyone's just going to want to help. And I'm really excited because I haven't had the opportunity to work with an alumni group yet. So I'm really interested to see this dynamic. So I would encourage our returning members, if you see someone new or you're bringing in someone new, to give them that encouragement and that
mm-hmm.
mentorship, especially because the goal, I want 100% of the people who join to last a full 6 months. You know, I want that retention rate to be really high. And I think that's for you and I, just it's going to take a lot of work on our part
Mm-hmm.
to keep people engaged. But that kind of brings me to another topic of motivation. And I'd like you to give your thoughts on it because I think a lot of people will be like, oh, yes, group training, the group will keep me motivated. And it's like, you got to be, I think people got to be a little careful with that because, yes, groups can keep you motivated, but the group doesn't necessarily last forever. So if your motivation hinges on other
Mm-hmm.
people and it's shallow, that's the depth of your motivation, it's not going to last very long and it's going to go
Mm-hmm.
away when the group goes away. And the idea of this is to set you up for success for beyond 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you, when someone's talking to you and they're saying, I want to do this, I know I need to do this, my problem is just I don't think I can stay motivated long enough to see the results,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm that's where I'm struggling. How do you, because there are people watching this right now, either in they've already signed up or they're thinking about signing up, and that this is what they're thinking, and when they're going to come work with you, like how do you address that?
Yeah. I would say my general advice to new people who aren't sure how long they can last is to not over commit, to take baby steps. So like maybe you commit and you could probably learn a lot to do a few, there's so many different tracks. Maybe you're like, I'm just going to do the walking and calisthenics track, or I'm going to do the strength and conditioning track, but I'm going to know going in that I'm just going to do Tuesday, Thursday with Rachel, or I'm just going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday with Chris. Or I'm going to do, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. You pick certain days and don't, if you think, oh, I can't do 5 days a week strength training, but you could do at home, or you could do the spin class, pick the thing that is not overachieving. I would pick low hanging fruit first. And that might be surprising to come from a fitness trainer, but I think you will build momentum as you accomplish those goals. And then you can add more. Like I work out 5 to 6 days a week. I did not start working out 5 to 6 days a week. When I was even like last semester, my schedule was such that it was more 3 to 4. But part of the problem there was that they were pretty long workouts, like 90-minute workouts. And so in my mind, I couldn't fit in another day because I couldn't fit in that stretch of a time. And when I thought, okay, for me, I had to make the mental shift of maybe I want to do more days, but make them shorter sessions, make them like 45 minutes, sometimes even just 30. and then I'm getting now like 5 to 6 days a week. I didn't start there. There was a summer a couple years ago where I consistently lifted twice a week, and I would do more full body lifts, go, heavy and hard for the time I had, but those were the
Hmm.
only 2 days. I really just, different people at Hillsdale College, I know, like, have really limited time outside of their work. They have different family obligations. I'm not denying that, and I don't think they should deny that either. They should get in, like you were saying, get in now. Um, but to commit to something that feels a little bit more achievable and not, like someone just waking up one day and saying, I'm going to run a marathon. Like, you're probably just going to burn out and get disappointed. But if you start small, then you accomplish that. Okay, now I can add a little bit here and there, if that makes sense.
It does. In previous years, we've trained 5 days a week, and I've set the bar at 5 days a week. So it was like, if someone was said, well, I think I'd like to join the program, but I only want to come 3 days a week, and I would say that's not for you. This is a
Mm-hmm.
5 day a week program. I did that just because I understand human nature. Because someone's like, well, I think everyone in their mind has a certain percentage of commitment. So if someone's like
Mm-hmm.
commits to 5 days a week, but they're only going to give me 3 days a week, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and if I was like, okay, well, let's make it 3 days a week, and then we'll get 100% commitment out of you, then they're going to drop it down to 2 days a week.
Mm.
That not everyone's like that, but I set the bar really high,
Mm-hmm.
knowing behind the scenes I'm not going to get 100% participation.
Yeah.
But I also know I'm going to get a certain percentage out of a certain person. So if you're that, I think you need to think about that as an individual. You know, 100% might not be possible, but you do have a percentage that you're willing to give.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Mm-hmm.
higher you set that expectation, the more you're going to get out of it. But to your point, maybe you start low. You start with something that is definitely doable. And then
Mm-hmm.
because this time I'm not saying I want you there 5 days a week. I'm just saying I want you there for 6 months. I don't care if it's one day a
Mm-hmm.
week, 2 days a week. I don't care if you're doing every track and you're lifting twice a week, and then you're a chief doing cardio 3 days a week. Whatever your level of commitment, and that's why we have the walking and the home exercise thing. It's like maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's all you got. Great. So we're trying to get a large group of people in and some type of commitment that works for them. And maybe with that type of combo, we can actually get 5 days a week. Because maybe they're only in the
Mm-hmm.
gym with us once, and then they're with Chief 2 days a week. And the other days they're counting steps or doing whatever it is that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that this flexibility actually equals more days per week, even though we're not requiring more
Exactly.
days per week.
Yeah.
And these suggestions have all come from our alumni, just with the feedback that I've gotten over the last couple of years. So it's like, okay, let's do something different that kind of meets everyone's. It tries to better accommodate
Mm-hmm.
all the different factors to the best of our ability that we can with our time. So I'm excited to see how this works. Now I'm coaching the other 3 days per week. We are going to do, if you're, for people who've worked with me before, if you look in the app at the actual workouts, it'll look very similar. There's probably going to be 2 exercises, upper body, lower body. I'm going to put so much of my effort though into the coaching, so that even more so that I have in the past. And what I want to do is start out with the 9 foundational movements from CrossFit. So there's going to be squat, things like that. But there's going to be movements in there that my people who worked with me have never done before, unless they've gone to
Mm-hmm.
CrossFit. So sumo deadlift, high pull, push press, push jerk, med ball cleans, things like that. Now, if that scares anyone and you're like, oh, I can't do that, you totally can. It's absolutely scalable. It's going to be very skill based. And for those of you who are more advanced, practicing skill and trying to do something exceptionally well for a period of time, even if it's body weight, you're going to get something out of it. You're going to improve your technique, which will improve your capacity long run. And you're definitely going to get sore because you can make it high rep with really good quality, and you're going to feel it. And then we'll lift at the end. Um, the idea is, though, that we build a really solid skill foundation as quickly as possible so we can start jacking up the intensity. So I want to build skilled, and I want to invest a ton in skills and invest a ton in confidence.
Mm.
and build capacity a little bit slower to start with in my crew. We're going to throw in some kettlebell training in there as well. And then if at any point I feel like my days people are dragging a little bit, I'll sprinkle in some more recovery things. But the idea would be we're getting in volume, skill, building confidence, and then at some point we crawl, we walk, and at some point we're running. Ideally by the fall we're running. And that's why I'm excited to have still a dedicated group because we will grow together, and this is going to be definitely doable for everybody, even our new people who have never, if you've never been in a gym before and you don't know the difference between a barbell and a kettlebell, it doesn't really matter. You'll figure it out, and there's going to be lots of people to help you. And anyone who's beyond you at this point has been where you were before, so there's not going to be any judgment here. That's what this whole
Mm-hmm.
program's about. So that's how my portion is going to look. But I'm leaving it. I would say at best it's a 70% plan because I want to just kind of be dynamic, and then be able to change and shift. And I'm curious
Mm-hmm.
to see like how our programming matches up because someone had asked me that like, "Oh, are you guys coordinating?" And it's like, not really. But well, I'm just going to see. You know what I mean? Like people are
Mm-hmm.
getting just destroyed because like we're not in sync. Then we'll get in sync. But I
Mm-hmm.
kind of want to see just with the randomness of it. Also,
Mm-hmm.
people are going to gravitate towards different coaches.
Yeah.
So maybe
I think
they're just going to your days, or maybe they're just coming to mine, or maybe they like it not matching up because it makes it a
mm-hmm.
little bit might get a little bit spicy some days, back to back squat days. You
Good
know,
surprises. And if you have a back-to-back squat day, you can like I've noticed if I go too long without squatting under a barbell, my squats are bad because like I don't have the range of motion. I've been most successful squatting more, and it's just some days are lighter than
yeah,
others, you know? So if you have back-to-back squat days, maybe one day is a body weight day and one day is a heavier day, or one's a lighter, one's a heavier. It's like people that run multiple days, they're doing the exact same movement, but not every run is a hard run. Some runs are an easy run, some runs are a long run, some ones are for time, some are for um, distance, things like that. And I think you can treat strength training the same.
mm-hmm.
I also think, yeah, the different styles and techniques, I thought of doing it, some full body both days, but I decided to split it up with a lower body day and an upper body day to introduce people or give people, if they're familiar with, a different style of
Yeah,
splitting it that way versus if you're just strength training twice a week, I would probably do them both full body. And
yeah,
definitely if you were only strength training once, only three and up would I typically split it up. But because I had the idea that people are training more than just those 2 days, that's why I was willing to give some variety. And then, yeah, I love that you're doing the CrossFit stuff. I don't have a CrossFit certification, so I'll leave that to Chris. I, have taken some of the inspiration from his CrossFit stuff and incorporated into my classes. But yeah, I think it's awesome if people get a more technical introduction to that style with Chris, and they'll get a more introduction to more like basic strength training, a little bit more bodybuilding style at times, or more functional, just basic strength training with me.
what would you say the keys to success are for this program as you're looking forward? What, when you think about like the people who are going to go the distance and get the most out of this,
Mm-hmm.
what, what are some of the things that will unify them? Some of the common
Mm-hmm.
traits.
I think communication and resiliency and a little bit of self awareness. I have students and clients that come from all, abilities, and whatever abilities they come from, where I can help them best is if they communicate to me what's holding them back, whether that is getting into the gym as many days of the week as they want to, or if that is, I've had people squat before and we're practicing squatting under a barbell and they're like, oh, my knees can't do that. But then they're stretching and their knees can go that far. I'm like, okay, so this isn't a range of motion issue, it's a strength issue. So I took that person over to TRX and was like, what if you held yourself so you like offload some of the weight into your arms and do a squat that way? She's like, whoa, I can do such a big, deep squat. So when we do squats, she says, can I do the TRX squats? I'm like, absolutely. You're actually squatting with the TRX, whereas you're not there yet with the barbell.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that clients like resiliency and humility in terms of it's not all about the fact that's on the barbell. She sees that like she's really squatting with TRX, it feels better, and that's where she is. And it's not about the number of weight, the number of plates or things like that. And she's willing to communicate to me what might be a limitation. I have
Yeah.
people email me saying, they have limitations getting into the gym. So I give them at home options. In the case of this Fit Club program, the at home option would be, do the at home calisthenics track instead. So if you're struggling, especially with the different tracks this year, like if you're struggling in one of our programs, we won't take personal offense if you just can't make the noon time, or if, one of our styles is not for you. If you tell us that, and we can help direct you to one of the other tracks in the program. If we can, but if people don't communicate that, then we don't know what is holding them back and how. Or like you said, you're 70, maybe 75% complete. You're willing to make modifications. If we don't hear what modifications might need to be made or might be nice to be made, we're just, shooting in the dark.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important because let's say, for example, someone is already turned off because I said that we're going to be doing CrossFit and they have a certain vision of that. Just turn down the intensity. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Because the squat that we practice with me, even if you come and you just spend that 45 minutes working on your squat, and then the next day you go lift with Rachel and she has you squat, you're better at the squat. So you almost use it as a training day, practicing for the other days, or it can be a recovery day. So maybe you come in and
Mm-hmm.
I set a high intensity for something and you go, I don't want to, I'm not feeling it today. Cool. Just go at a way lower intensity, work range of motion. Like you said, use the TRX to take some load off. There's so many different ways that we can scale this and make this acceptable. And I think part of the problem historically with this track, with people coming into a gym with a bunch of barbells and a bunch of people in a group setting with music, is there's an intimidation factor. And I really want to make it known to people that no one in this group is judging you. People in life will judge you, but they're already doing that. You know what I mean? So it's like if you're worried about being judged, you shouldn't worry about it because it is happening. Like there's no sense in worrying about something that is out of your control. When you go to Kroger, people judge you. It's just human nature. This is a unique environment though because we all share a common goal and no one is coming to this program to judge or be judged. We're all coming here to learn and grow and be a team and to accomplish our goals. So just come in, do the best you can. To your point, have some humility. It's fine. No one expects you to be great. We just want a team environment. And if you show up and put your gym shoes on and you make it to the gym, you won. Do it the next day. Do it you know what I mean? Like for 6 months, if you just show up and do something and you weren't doing a lot before, you're going to get better. You're going to improve. So there's no expectation from either of us that you are going to do anything spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
I just want people there with smiles and a decent attitude and a willingness to learn and a willingness to be bad and not to care. And then obviously not to be judgmental of other people. And when I look at all of the returning people and I recognize all the names, we got a good group. Anything else you want to say about track three?
Mm. I think on the topic of retention is when it gets hard or overwhelming or discouraging, and Chris or I are trying to help you find other options, remember why you joined in the first place. And remember, don't give up on that goal or just decide to redefine yourself midsummer or mid program because it's hard. Like there was something in you or someone else that encouraged you to start the program and say, I want this change. I need this change, maybe. I think this will be really good. And don't give up on that just because it gets hard. But remember that there's scaling options, and that the harder you can work, the easier it'll get over time.
All right. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I'm excited.
me too. This is gonna be fun. All right, I'll let you go. Looking forward to seeing you guys out there.